Hello.
Hey
Hi.
everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I want to see if we're having some fun playing with reception. Hi Danielle.
Can
Hi everyone. Can you hear us, please?
you hear us?
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Donna. Hi Donna. Hey Pam. Great.
Can you see
We
us
were
too or no? Sorry, Patrick.
we were on 4 bars,
Yeah.
5 bars, and then what happened, Nessa? And then we suddenly, when we tried to sign on, it dropped to 2. So let me see. We'll wander this way a little bit. We were going up higher, you see. Sayuri, hola.
Hello.
Hey, Pam. Yeah, I'm sure it's a bit pixelated because it's sitting on 2 bars. Hey, Elise. It's lovely to have you all here. Hi, Ken. Listen, everyone. Hey, Mary Beth. Hi there. It's nice to have everyone here, but I think it's going to be a little bit shaky. We were resetting the phone and doing everything, but we are very high. In fact, the bars are not part of this tour. That's true. Let me show you. Let me give you a sense if I can load it. All right, what you need to do is the photo that I just put in there. You need to download that photo and you will see, because it's got a little box. We took that right before the tour. We are at 4,800 and something meters. That is about 16,000 feet above sea level. Yeah. So yeah, 40. So we were actually going up to 5,000 because this is a place now. I mean, Elizabeth comes here all the time, but this is, well, Jenny, I'll talk about it in a minute here. This is a place that I have been to many times because I've climbed a lot of these volcanoes and it's easy to get here. And then you come and hang out for the day and breathe and take it easy. But remember, do you mind holding this for 1 second?
Course,
because remember, this tour is called Getting High in the Andes. So, do you see this? That is hoja de coca. That is a coca leaf from the coca plant, which grows at about 1,500 meters down towards the Amazon basin. Looks like a nice little plant. And you know what? I should be biting the end off, but I have altitude brain. Now, hey, Casey. We are getting high together. Well, we're getting... No, Elizabeth's partner was driving us up here, and he and I were digging into the coca. So, let me tell you what it tastes like. I'll just tell you about her for a second. I know some people think it doesn't look good to eat while on camera, but every photo of me anywhere in the high altitude, I always have a jaw full. Now, I want to back up and explain a few things, but as I take this in,
you see a bunch of coca leaves.
Yeah, so
chewing.
We've already eaten half of them, but this is the catalyst, right? Now, this is actually like that stevia, you know, the fake sugar that you get. Traditionally, what you get is limestone, and you bite into it, hey, Ruth, and you bite into it. And it's a catalyst, and it draws out the protein or the alkaloids that are in the coca. And when you do it makes your tongue go numb a little bit. But why?
You high too.
First of all, the one thing I want to say is I am not a drug user. I am not using a drug. This is a purely legal plant here. It grows all over the Andes at a much lower elevation. This is to cocaine what sugar cane is to rum, right? The process of turning this into a drug is a horrendous criminal product or process of abuse and manipulation. We were talking about it in the car on the way up today as well. The biggest producer of cocaine in the world right now is Peru. So we're number one. However, the biggest consumers are in Western Europe, of course.
Yeah.
If cocaine were legalized, you wouldn't have all the illegal transporting. But to turn this into cocaine, you know, that disgusting white powder that I have never, ever, ever, ever done in my life, you need kilos and kilos of this. And then you add gasoline and other minerals. And young children walk on it to mix it together until they burn their feet. Then it is packaged and exported through channels either to Europe or North America, which has, of course, led to the narco wars. And it's a huge story, a huge process and a tragic process. So when I'm chewing on coca leaves, I am doing what people have done and continue to do for generations here. So I'm not immune to cocaine. the altitude, we'll get to the altitude in a minute, everyone. Well, let me have one more. And then I just want to give you a little bit. I can't find my pockets or anything because I'm not acclimatized. We're so high up. But let's look out in the distance. Look at that for a view. Now, if you joined us in Arequipa yesterday, it's taken us about 3.25 hours to get here. So we did rent a car to come here. So we do appreciate your support for that. But if you look out in the distance there, that is the same volcano, Chachani. So that is the one that I did climb in, I can't remember what year it was, 2014, I think. Climbed up that one. So that is 6,000 meters or 20,000 feet. Thanks, Marlene. See the snow up there? It was and it snowed last night. Thanks, everyone. It snowed last night, but it snows above 4,600 meters. So it could snow on us. And in fact, if we curve around up here, really what we were trying to do, but remember, Elizabeth has tested all this so much. But look at those peaks up there with that fresh snow across the top of it. Isn't it just yesterday? It's literally we didn't have snow, and now. So as we were driving up here, I tried to take a photo. I don't know if it turned out, but I'm just uploading a photo there. Thanks, Danny. Nice to see you. And Danny has been here, actually. In fact, Danny, I think you've been here with Elizabeth. Thanks, everyone. So much appreciated. So that picture I just put up, if you download that photo and zoom into it, behind me you will see vicuñas. Now, vicuñas are one of the most valuable wools in the whole wide world. Second only really to the quivic, which is the muskox in the north of Canada. They are gorgeous, gorgeous animals. They live above 4,000 meters or 14,000 feet. So have a look at that picture. I also, sorry, that pressed the zoom. And we'll talk about this. I just wanted to show you another lovely photo with the Peruvian flag looking out to the mountains in the distance.
It's part of your acclimatization.
The acclimatization. Okay, Ubinas is the other way, Eva. Ubinas.
No, that one is Chukura.
Yeah, that's Chukura straight out in front of us. But Ubinas is back over here, isn't it?
Ubinas
is out here. Sorry. That's right. Going south. That's the road up to Puno, if you've been there. So I know Danny, who's here, has been there with me and driven all the way down here. It looks like the surface of the moon, Mark, because it feels very much like that. So this is all volcanic rock. So this is basalt and pumice here. And it's actually remarkably light. And so one of the things we do when we come and play here is we pick up all these rocks. You see, like that is a light rock because there's so much air that's left it. Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all our friends in the United States. We give thanks to having you all here with us. We hope you're having a lovely long weekend. Biggest travel time of the United States, they always say. So big Thanksgiving hugs to all of you. I'll give you some Thanksgiving kisses. So we're looking, so where we're going to head after, let's turn around and then we'll talk a little bit about this change on our bodies here. So where we're heading from here is here's the road. Now getting out of Arequipa, no, the stone stacks are not, thanks Martine, thanks Laura, not at all natural. In fact, at home, I'm not at home, so I respect it. If I were home, I would come and take these down. But we're not in a national park here. We're in an ecological reserve. People go and put the rocks up, and I realize it doesn't really affect anything, but to me, it's a form of graffiti, right? But we're going to head down the road here. I hope every single one of you have been on some of the tours with Elizabeth down in Colca. She grew up in Chivay, the main town. So when we leave here, we go straight ahead for only about 10 or 12 minutes. And then we start these really excellent switchback roads. Hey, bonjour, David. Hey, David, je te félicite Belgique hier. For my Belgian friends, congratulations on your extremely lucky win over Canada. I was over at Elizabeth's house and we were eating and we ignored the football game, actually. It was pure luck. But anyway, you do the zigzag down here into the deep valley. And Colca is by some measures the biggest canyon in the world. Beautiful, lush valley. Now, when you've joined Elizabeth, and it's the wrong time of year, so we're not going, but up to the viewpoint where the condors are, we get all the way down into Chivai. Does anything? Yes, Mark, we'll come back to that too. Then she drives, and of course I've been up there, well, I've been going there, I guess, for 15 years, I suppose, but up to a viewpoint through this gorgeous road, and you have to be there at sunrise, and if it's nice, if it's not rainy, the condors take off and they get the natural uplift from that canyon there. So it's just, have you, Catherine? It's so spectacular. So, and even down in Chivay, you're at 3,600 meters, or still, whatever that is, 12,000 feet. So real high altitude, but the rainy season's coming in, which is very, very good news because Arequipa has a shortage of water at the moment. So more snow, the better. But let's talk about, actually, why don't we talk for a minute about what's happening to our bodies? So for you, do you feel it when you come here?
No.
No, nothing.
It means I have half a little of red blood cells than you, because you come from lower altitude than here. Most people who live or who are quite close to this area, they actually they got the adaptation, but they create, their own bodies create more red blood cells, right? That's one of the biggest difference for, if we would like to compare with people who live sea level.
Yeah, if you're at sea level, roughly 20% of the air is oxygen. Here, it's about 11%, right? So it's roughly half. We're at what's considered extremely high altitude. If we were to cross 18,000 feet, then that's considered extreme high altitude. So again, some of these peaks, when you get up to that magic 20,000. Now, I have a whole article on my website that's about adapting to altitude. Now, I know what my body's going through right now. And remember, I already live at 1,500, so I already have a bonus. Thanks, Ann. Hugs to you. But when we get up here, immediately as we were coming up the hill, we were having a good conversation in the car, and then I coughed because I still have this silly cough, and suddenly my head was dizzy, right? And so I'm drinking water. I ate very, very little breakfast, and I've been drinking water the whole way up. And then I had chocolate, Sublime, which is a Peruvian chocolate. Did you, Pam? I'm interested you passed out. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So I have gotten sick, never terribly, but I want to just tell you a quick story, and then we'll get to some of the flora in the area. But if you get up to Puno, that's a few hours drive from here. That's up at Lake Titicaca. Thank you, Helen. Everyone, if you do want to have a look at the article that Helen's just put up, that is literally about how to adapt to altitude. But if you get up there to Puno, now from Puno, I've driven around the back of Puno to a place eventually called La Rinconada. That's the highest city in the world. Everyone thinks it's Tibet, but it isn't. It's here in Peru. It's about 50,000 people. It is informal mining, and it's gold mining. It's tragic. They use mercury for mining. That's a big story unto itself. But they actually go into the mines, and it's a form of indentured servitude. You work for 28 days for free, and then you get one free day in the mine. Now, some of it's been more formalized, but I went there back in 2014. It was an interesting experience, and then drove down into the Amazon. So, fascinating thing. Is it on YouTube? It is on YouTube. You're absolutely right, Diane. Yep. So, La Rinconada. It doesn't even show up on tourist maps, but you think it should, right? The most visited to the highest city in the world should be a destination unto itself. Now, the wind is coming up, and exactly what part of the reason we left so early, as Elizabeth said, the wind starts to come up around noon here. It's 11:30 right now. So as the wind comes up, then the signal starts to cut out. We're getting signal. We're getting signal from Chivay down in the valley where there's a cell tower. The flavor of the leaves, then. So the coca leaves do have a flavor to them. I like it. Some people find them a little bitter. And it's funny because I don't like bitter foods, but I like the taste of them. And you chew them, obviously you get this kind of lump in the side of your mouth. What do they do for you? Well, they have a mild stimulant, a bit like I drink mate from Argentina and Brazil. That has matein, which is a bit like caffeine. This is a mild stimulant. It's not really addictive, but what it does do is it suppresses your hunger and suppresses your thirst. And plenty of calcium. Beatriz, hola Beatriz. That's how you end up with lovely white teeth. You see people in the highlands. You have gorgeous white teeth. It's, they always, particularly when they have the calcium. So yeah, all of that calcium helps clean the teeth. Takes, not mint, no, Natalie, but it tastes like a plant, really. And then as you chew it, you don't get hungry. So up in the mines in Potosi, for example, which was the first colonial mine, I've done a talk about it with the old coins, the original Spanish. It was, I mean, a crime against humanity, and they're still mining in there. I'm not getting there on this trip, but I would love to, and I know Raynan has been there. But really, Arequipa was founded by the Spanish as they were moving all the silver from those mines down to the coast, eventually to Lima, Ucutlan. And then from Lima, the ships went around to what was Panama, and that's where they had, of course, El Camino Real, or the Camino de Cruces, the Royal Road, or the Road of Crosses, because so many people died as they went over to Portobello. I have a little YouTube video about Portobello. Hey, Leonie. And that's where they then exported the silver all the way up to Spain, which led to the legalization of piracy by both the French and British governments. It's all connected in this world, and it's all this high altitude. But yeah, the coca leaves could absolutely be marketed as that. Maryland, that history is profound history. Yeah, it's the birth. I often say that what was found in Potosi with the mining there ended with the gold rush up in Alaska and Yukon, for example. Yeah, it's not. It's funny when I'm here. Whenever I'm at a high altitude, we'll take you back to the great views out here. I chew it all the time, and then I leave, and I don't miss it at all. Right? But it's but the first thing we did this morning was stop. Let's just talk about these plants for a second. So here is tola, which is really just wood growing up here. So again, we're at 4,800 meters above sea level. And they can dry this and burn it for cooking. Although, well, see, I just bent over and now my head's dizzy. So I don't know if I'm giving you a handstand today or I'll have a headache for the rest of the week. But yeah, I'm gradually growing my red blood cells. Have a look, actually. You can get a sense of the canyon down here. This is where we drove up through there. And that is, those of you who have been to Cappadocia in Turkey or happened to join us when we were there last year, same sort of thing. These are big lava canyons, and you actually can see some of the fabulous hoodoo formations as well, like you see in Cappadocia. So it's just spectacular. It is beautiful. Now there's also a kind of moss. Let's see if we can zoom in. Yeah. We'll see if, hey, look, we're 3 bars going this way now. We'll see if we hold the reception to show you this high altitude moss. You see it again. Yeah, it's a bus rosemary. It's because there's so much tourism that goes from Arequipa up and over to Colca. Thanks, Patty. Hey, nice to see you. Sorry if we've missed people. Say we had trouble signing on and then everything flies by, but it's so lovely to have you all here. Oh, there's some. Yeah, there we go. I'm still getting.
I think you can zoom in.
Yeah, I think I can zoom in. Yeah, because otherwise. It is incredible the mosses grow here. Do keep in mind, Laura, whenever, like, obviously Arequipa is extremely dry, but volcanic areas are some of the lushest areas in the world, which is always that really difficult trade-off of whether you live by the base of a volcano. I mean, I think of Guatemala, for example, everyone's crowded around Pacaya. Well, I climbed Pacaya 20 years ago and then it blew its top off. It doesn't look the same, but it creates for very good soil. All right, so that's the trade-off. Here, however, we're in the western range of the Andes. Don't worry, I'll take you up to the green ones. I did put up a tour. Thanks, Pamela. I did put up a tour Sunday morning.
This is another plant, another kind of a plant, but the other one is the one which survive or live over 4,600 meters to 4,900 meters, right?
Understand that, everyone? So it's not really truly a moss. It's a plant, but from 4,600 to 4,900 meters. So we're talking 16,000 to 17,000 feet above sea level, right?
It grows only 1 millimeter per year. It means it takes quite a long time to grow, and they are able to live they are able to live 3,000 years old.
That's, if I sound a little breathless, Lynn, it's because you're all here. I definitely, if I were to, if I put my headphones in and went for a run, you'd hear it. Now, again, I'm so familiar with altitude, but it doesn't matter. It's more of a lichen than a moss.
It's a plant.
It's a,
because has its root, has flowers, has seeds. It's a plant. Yeah, it's not a moss. It's not a.
Let's see if we can get a bit closer. It's say we're really watching our reception right along here. But when I get back up, it takes. I've had no headache or anything. It takes about 3 or 4 days for that headache to go away. But I can tell you that when I lived up here, it took 3 months for my body to really change. Se llama
Yareta.
Yareta. And by the way, we were Googling the name in English, and it's still Yareta with a Y, which is an old Quechua name. But you can see that it really is a plant here.
The brown ones are the seeds. It has a flower, but it's not a blooming time, but it's a plant. It's a plant because it has leaves, has the seeds, has this. It grows near to the rock because the rock helps to have the right and the perfect temperature. A lower altitude doesn't grow because they need maximum temperature 10 degrees Celsius. That's the reason they grow at this altitude. When it's much higher, it's too cold for them. Between a certain altitude, they grow up. Yeah. Thanks, Patrick.
You're welcome. And here's some lichen over here. There's lichen all over up here because vicuñas walk around and they pee on things, but also all the tourists who are drinking water like mad as they're coming up to altitude are peeing everywhere too. And that allows for the crypto-organic soil.
I haven't seen any vizcachas, but
thanks, Elizabeth,
it is the natural habitat of the vizcachas.
Do you know vizcacha, everyone? It's a nice little rodent. And they live very, very high up, a little bit like a marmot, if you were to put them. We saw one on the road on our way up, but we haven't seen any running around here. But you do see them as well. Gorgeous little animals. So it's so nice to come up. But yes, I will be breathless. I mean, I'm hoping... well, it does, Rosemary. I mean, things can grow all over the place, obviously. Now, having said that, the driest places on Earth, because we're just on the edge. If we were to look out in the distance that way is the way you get down to the coast, and then you really are in the Atacama Desert. Now that's often you'll read as the driest place on Earth. That's northern Chile and southern Peru. However, the ocean is incredible there. It's some of the richest waters in the world. That's what we were talking about when we were with Vanessa, of course, which was just, of course, that's where you get the lovely ceviche and so forth. Oh, the telescopes are not here, Mark. The telescopes, well, I'll just finish that one point. I'll come back to it. But but down at the water, but you have that cold Humboldt current, and then you have this western ridge of the Andes here. And then there's another dip, and then we'll get to the more eastern Andes, which you'll see when I get up to Cusco, and that's green. But that's why we're in this microclimate here, which very little grows. Now, again, this isn't truly the driest desert in the world. Driest deserts in the world are in Antarctica, where you have these katabatic winds that stop anything from growing. So that's just another factor. By the way, for people who are just joining, I just want to put in one more picture again from the beginning, because if you download that picture, you'll see it has a data box, and it shows how high we are in both feet and meters. Now, Mark was asking about the telescopes. So if we went down to the coast, from here, that's 100 kilometers. And how far is it to Tacna from there?
From Arequipa, it's about 1,000 kilometers.
So is it?
Yeah.
And as a crow flies, by the air?
By the air, 1 hour.
Yeah, 300 kilometers or 400. So you get to Tacna, which is the border really with Chile. Then you get to Arica. From Arica, you drive 12 hours down to Calama, which is where the mining center was. Copiapó is where the miners were buried underground. And by the way, if you'll see a greenish hue in some of these rocks, it's because there's big copper mines around here too. But you get down south of Calama, Mark, and that's where you will find those famous telescopes that are all up above 5,000 meters. I've seen them, although I've never had a permit to go in and visit them. But yeah, that's where San Pedro, which is really like the center of tourism up there in northern Chile is. So let's, that's what we're just talking about, David. Yep. So why don't we wander down? We'll wander down towards the viewpoint. We're lucky that it's not a very busy day up here. Oh, and by the way, Lovely young Emmy has come with us today. She skipped school, which is exactly the kind of parenting I believe in. And she's been doing her school work in the car. She's got a very good work ethic, doesn't she? She really does work hard. And we've been speaking English. She's just started studying English, and her comprehension is excellent. So I think it's a real treat. That's right, Mark.
There are just people who arrive. You see down there?
Yeah, here come the tourists.
It's quite famous at this point.
Well, this is the point. Every tour bus stops here because you kind of have to. Now, it is cloudy in the distance, but of course, out in the distance is a smoking volcano. Last erupted
1991.
91, yeah, but it's still smoking away. Last time Elizabeth was here, I think we were able to watch him smoking in the distance. It's nice to see. Oh, thanks, Lynn. Nice to see the clouds coming in though, because they do need the rain. I picked my battles coming here in November because it's a nice time in November. By the way, for those of you wondering about Mike in Cusco, so I did put up a tour in Cusco on Sunday morning. Mike and I are meeting that afternoon, and we're having dinner and all sorts of things, but he's not quite up to putting up a tour right now because he's in very much high season. But he is going to be doing some of the 360 videos that I do as well. In fact, I'm giving him a camera, so I am going to be seeing Mike. So he will be very happy to see all of you. But when I proposed to Hago, he said, "Oh, I just didn't have time to put it up." So I totally understand. And I've got another 360 that's published. It's just not quite out yet, from St. John's, Newfoundland. Oh gosh, I was tempted to try and do one here. It's so lovely to see the fresh snow. Oh, Diana, absolutely meeting with Raynan. They already have a tour up on their page. On the 1st of December, we're meeting in Copacabana on Lake Titicaca on the Bolivian side. So make sure, please, the temperature, Michael's about 10 degrees Celsius right now. So it's not even cold.
For me, yeah, it's cold.
It's cold for Elizabeth. For me, I just have my tiny light. And I have got so much sunscreen on, a heavy mineral sunscreen. Do you know yesterday I burnt my arm just sitting in the car with the window open?
Well, that's because you are very white.
I'm very, and I'm more white than normal because, of course, it was winter at home, so I'm already covered up. And I put on this mineral sunscreen, and I have the 45 on my lips. So normally we'd kiss for you, but Elizabeth's husband's right there. Because I put it on because it's really, at high altitude, you can burn. When I've climbed big mountains, I wear a large rimmed hat. We even wear thin gloves because any exposure, you'll burn like that. So that is a reality of it, of course. And it is for these guys. I mean, you know, you work in the mountains, you got your sunglasses on all the time. Peruvians are lucky because they grow the really thick hair, you know, whereas some of us can burn a bit more.
A lot.
And a lot of hair, yep.
A lot. Easy to manage.
It is. Yeah, Peruvians have, high altitude people. Fair enough. Now, some of that said, it is interesting. You will read sometimes that people have gone, and there is an adaptation among people in Tibet. That adaptation does not necessarily exist here. So many people have migrated up to the Andes. So if Elizabeth went down to sea level for a month, she would have to readapt here too. I remember years ago, first time I was in Bolivia, reading some very colonial book saying the Indians have barrel chests that breathe oxygen better. Not true.
It's about adaptation.
It is about adaptation, yep. And it is. A few people cannot deal with altitude, and that's totally understandable. If I have a group of 20, usually when I come down here, I usually have 20, usually 2 will get kind of sick. Now, sick will be a headache, maybe diarrhea. Nauseous. Yeah. A few days.
Or you collapse.
Well, that's the worst case. And then we just push you off the cliff. But I'll tell you a very quick story as we're running out of time here already. But I had a lovely gentleman on a tour. He was from the UK. He was extremely well traveled. And we flew up to Arequipa. That wasn't with you. We flew up to Arequipa, went to Puno, and the poor guy just was struggling with the altitude the whole time. Well, and he really was. And he felt badly because his stomach, he had diarrhea the whole time, you know, which is really crappy. And then, so eventually a doctor came because they can give you, hey, T&J, You like that? And they try and give you antibiotics because you pay for it and you make money off that. Thanks, Dan. And the antibiotics were the last thing he needed because all that's going to do is hurt the fauna in your stomach. Exactly. But he really believed that he had some sickness. Well, we were on to Cusco, and then we were going to Puerto Maldonado, which is the Amazon, completely the opposite. Thanks, Tara. And he phoned me the day before we're going there, and he said, "You're going to get your," like he was, now I know he was feeling sick, so I forgive him. But he said, "You're going to get yourself in legal trouble. You're giving medical advice that you shouldn't give." And I said, "Yep." I said, "You're absolutely right." He said, "When we land in Puerto Maldonado, if you're sick, take any drug you want." And we literally landed down there, 47-minute flight. Thank you both. 47-minute flight. He steps off the plane and he's 100%. It was just pure altitude. Now, the only cure to altitude sickness is to go down, right? And so the oxygen that they try and sell you, all I do, loads of water, 5 liters a day when you're going up.
Coca leaves.
Coca leaves, exactly. I'll add powder sometimes when I'm at really high mountains. The highest I've been is only 6,900 meters, which is 23,000 feet. But I'd be drinking 5 liters a day just in the tent. And you just kind of flush through your system. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is our first little game of being high. So listen, what we're going to do... Some people feel it in Banff, but it's more the dry, right? Oh, and thanks, Ruth. And also things like, Coca-Cola, stuff that I normally don't drink as you're going up, quick energy. Now, we're going to head down to the canyon, everyone. And on Elizabeth's page in roughly 2 hours, an hour 45, Elizabeth has like 3 different ideas of what she may make me do down there. So if you can sign on for a tour on Elizabeth's page, please do, because we're gonna see what's open. We're definitely heading to Hot Springs, but as I have no swimsuit, we're not doing that one live on screen. But we do want to thank you for getting high with us, everyone. So we want to say peace. I love it. So much fun.
Thanks so much.
To be up here, everyone. Just have a look at these views. And Sayuri, that was so much fun. Your chit chat last night. Hugs to all you. Sorry if I didn't catch people's names coming in. It's so nice to see you here. Is with the sunglasses. Paula, it's the very end. Thanks, Catherine. Paula's here. Sorry, Paula. Danny, you remember being up here. Paula, we have to give you a kiss too. So, and a warm hug as well to our friends in Israel who went through an awful lot yesterday. So there we are. There's Chichani. Look at that. 20,000 feet up there. All right. Such a treat to share this with everyone. We do have it again. Come check out Elizabeth's page and say, I do have tours up with Renan up there in Bolivia. So lots of fun things. Oh, Janice, hey, hugs to Janice at sea level, exact opposite Cape Cod. Janice, I am literally right now almost, you're in miles, aren't you? So I'd be 3 miles above your house. Isn't that amazing to think? And now that I'm walking down, I don't get puffed at all. Just when you go up and use your lungs, anything under 10 seconds is good. And then after that, you begin to breathe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, thank you so much for coming along. I really appreciate it. And we will connect with you. And do have a look at that article that I wrote about altitude, because it gives you some greater sense about what it's all about. So glad the connection held for us. Okay, off we go down to the canyon. Tupananchiskama, by the way.
Tupananchiskama.
Means see you soon in Quechua.